Hello, everybody, and welcome to the May 13th episode of Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
Just one segment to bring you this week. A lot of rain last week, so we were off the turf. So the turf really, the name of our game here on Trips and Traps. So when we don't have a lot of turf racing, we don't have that many trips.
Yeah, especially at Belmont, where with the one-turn races, you don't have a lot of trips. Now it happens that we feel there were trips in some ways in many of the races because other than Saturday, the rail wasn't the place to be, and we're going to talk about that more when we talk about the last race in this episode. But that's something we can't show you every race, but you probably want to be outside a lot at Belmont, and we'll get to that. But we're going to start out with a race, actually the first race from the week.
Yeah, it was the first race from last Wednesday, and the two-horse Silver Ferrari, a very easy horse to follow in the race, will be the only gray in this five-horse field. And Silver Ferrari is going to get off to an awkward beginning here. Come out of the gate a few lengths behind the field. You see him kind of rush the gate there as they open, and then gets off as a result of that about 3 lengths behind the field because of making contact with the gate.
Yeah, there's no question that he obviously had a legitimate excuse in here. Now, the winner went pretty easily by 5 lengths, so I don't think that really affected him. But I think Silver Ferrari is a horse that we focused on a trip back months ago at Aqueduct. And then, I think 2 races later, got him in, and he's left the screen, but obviously you'll see him in a second. We got him in the perfect spot 2 races after that. He was 7-1, unloaded on him, had a great trip, looked like a cinch in mid-stretch, and just really hung the last 16th. And frankly, I think both of us have had enough of this horse, and this is a trap coming out of this race. I
agree 100%. The move that the Silver Ferrari makes up the inside is going to make people say, wow, he gained all this ground after breaking slowly out of the gate there. And, you know, I think he works out a pretty great trip here, just saving a lot of ground around the turn, coming to the outside in the stretch, which, as we said in the beginning of the show, is where you want to be. Dead aim here, despite, you know, getting off a couple lengths slowly here, and just can't get the job done over Yes, He's the Man. Side note to this race, Blue Bullet, who sets the pace in here, real disappointing. I thought Blue Bullet would be the favorite in this race. They made Silver Ferrari the favorite, but Blue Bullet, boy, oh boy, I thought he was loose on the lead here, and he was real disappointing.
He was loose in the lead. He went 23-1. He absolutely crawled in the beginning, and it's one thing to lose to Yes, He's the Man, who ran so well in here and had more speed, but he just absolutely collapsed here. Now, maybe he doesn't like the moisture in the track, and the track was listening to good. He wasn't on the rail. It's not like he had some big inside trip, because he was out in the middle of the racetrack. Blue Bullet, I don't know, liked him the time before, but Blue Bullet just seems like a horse who's really going the wrong direction. Silver Ferrari is one that's going to be a short price again next time, and somebody is going to beat him.
Yeah, I think so. I think Silver Ferrari is a horse that you got to look out for next time out and say if he's going to spot like he was on last Wednesday where he's going to be the favorite or close to it, you got to go against him. Well, horses with some upside now, we think, for the second segment of this show, and we're looking at a couple of first-time starters out of a May 9th maiden special weight. It was race number 5. We're looking at the 4-horse in here, Hero Figure, and here highlighted is the 8 Livin Large.
Yeah, both of these horses have similar trouble coming out of the gate. The 4-horse's trouble is more readily seeable on the pad. We'll show it and just watch. They both get cut off, and the 8 is shut off there. The 4 sort of takes the worst of it ultimately, because you'll see in the pan in a second that he goes back farther. Now, both of these horses could say had trips, but the 4 is the horse who ran, that's Hero Figure. He's the one who probably ran a much better race.
I agree. We're going to see the pan shot here once they break from the gate. You see Hero Figure more affected by the problem at the start, and they both kind of had the similar kind of thing happen at the start where they were a little hesitant, got squeezed back, and you're going to see the 4 Hero Figure take the worst of it, leaving the gate here. And this race, I think you'll see, you know, that the 4 Hero Figure kind of runs a much better race, I thought, than the 8 Livin Large. Livin Large finishes last in here, took some money in the spot, was bet down to 3-1. You know, makes a little bit of a move here around the turn for trainer Bruce Brown, but I think fairly disappointing when the final result is all looked at.
No question about it. He was 3-1, and he ran last. Bruce Brown, he's now 0-for-11 with first-time stars since he began training on his own just over a year ago. Now, you're seeing Hero Figure. He's moving up here. He looks like he just has a ton, and he's going to find a seam to run through and blow by the field. He's not moving up right in the rail. He's in the 2 path. Livin Large is behind him. So first, let's look at Hero Figure. He is going to run into traffic as he's trying to make his move. Now, maybe he just gets intimidated here. He's a first-time starter. He's getting dirt kicked in his face because he looks like he's supposed to run over horses at this point, and he ends up having absolutely nothing at the end. Livin Large is behind him second to last, and he is green as can be. As you can see in a second, and there he is, the rider will go to a left-handed whip to try to keep him from lugging in, yet he insists on lugging in.
Yeah, I think this horse is one that just simply wasn't ready for today, despite taking the action that he did on the board. And a quick side note to the 4 Hero figure, you see the winner of this race, Fierce Rival, the 7 horse coming down through the stretch here. I thought a great job of race riding by Garrett Gomez. He kept Hero figure in. Don't know if he was looking at Hero figure at any time during the race and said, wow, this horse, has run. I'm going to try to keep him pinned in. But that seemed to make a little bit of a difference, because Hero figure, when he was switched to the outside there, just didn't seem to have that kick. And that was, I think, because Fierce Rival was right to his outside.
I agree. He really did seem to get intimidated there. Hero figure can clearly run. He made that move after the trouble to start, and he's sort of an obvious horse. He's not going to be a big price. The other thing is he's trained by Phil Serpy, who's another trainer that doesn't do well with first-time stars. Now he's about 2 for 60, I think, after a couple this weekend over the last 5 years, but he does extremely well with second-time stars. Hero figure, probably going to win the next time he runs. Not a big price. Living Large, I can't tell. Maybe he just can't really run, but the way he got bet in this race and he was so green, I'll be interested in seeing him in his next start.
You know what, though, the thing with Living Large, I wouldn't be surprised if he got bet again. Just because he took money this time, people are going to see the trouble line, check, slow start. They might come back to him again, especially from an outfit that seems to take money in the Bruce Brown barn. So I'd be a little bit skeptical of Living Large. While on the other hand, Hero figure, I'd say look out for him next time.
Yeah, Hero figure, I think, is going to be tough. And that's a good point. If Living Large is any kind of short price in the 9 to 2 or less range, which is short considering how he ran, I want no part of him.
All right, it's time for our last race of the segment here, and it's time for our bi-weekly update of Herald Square. Andy, why don't you take us through Herald Square's run here on May 10th?
Right, bi-monthly. He only runs every 2 weeks.
We
like to show him. In this race, one of the reasons we're showing it, Herald Square's number 2 in here, is not so much Herald Square should have won this race, but it's also because this was a quintessential race where the rail played the biggest factor of anything in this race. As you'll see, a great deal of the field basically hits the wire together. 5 of them are right there at the finish. Now, Herald Square is hampered by having an inside post, but he also hampered by having the speed, because Long Jump, who's the 1 behind him, actually ends up getting outside of him on the turn. Now, if you're watching the head-on, Herald Square and the leader, Spite of Hand was 1 to 2 off a huge maiden win in Florida. While they're racing towards the inside, both of them are effectively in around the 2 path right now. But what happens is, as you'll see very clearly, Herald Square will go over the rail in the stretch, and maybe he's intimidated by being inside, but also he wants to make up no ground the inside, and I think the rail played a role in that. But also, Spite of Hand drops over to the rail in mid-stretch, and I think that's what ultimately cost him the race.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to take a good look at these results here the first couple of weeks and determine when horses run back, the first few times, how strong the bias was on horses running on the rail, looking for them to get outside, see if they improve their efforts. And you see here that Herald Square is still down inside here, and either Herald Square doesn't like being inside, or the rail was deep this day, because you're going to see Herald Square making up no ground on the inside. But when he switched to the outside by jockey Cornelio Velasquez, here you see you could drive a truck through the inside part of here that was left open on the rail, and horses seem to on mile tracks seem to come right through there. Not the case here on Belmont. And you see just kind of running nowhere right now. Herald Square, he's going to switch to the outside and come. I mean, right now it looks like he's going to get beat 6 or 7 lengths.
Right, and Cornelio Velasquez finally realized, I got to get off the inside, and he just loses this race. Now, Spite of Hand is right on the rail right now, and it's unfortunate that his rider wasn't able to keep it in the middle of the track. It's not an easy thing to do. But this is a race. You're very right about this. I don't think the rail is the place to be, but we do want to see some of these horses start to come back, and you measure their performances the next time. I'm looking to bet horses with inside trips on most of the dirt day races the first 2 weeks at Belmont, save this past Saturday, and bet against horses that made the outside moves.
Makes a lot of sense. We'll monitor the results, and I'll get back to you next couple of weeks, and I'll let you know how all that goes. Keep in mind that you can reach us via email at tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com. That is our email address. Andy or myself will get back to you. We love to hear your comments, and keep those questions coming.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the races, the second race we showed, was one that a gentleman pointed out to us, and we appreciate that a great deal. We might or might not have picked it up on our own. Who knows? But anyway, thanks a lot for watching.